Okay, so you know that feeling when you're kind of just going through the motions,
Mm-hmm.
day-to-day stuff, it's getting done. Things maybe look all right from the outside,
Right. Looks normal.
but inside there's this nagging sense that you're just adrift,
Yeah.
like trying to walk through really thick mud maybe, while everyone else seems to be cruising along on solid ground.
Yeah, that stuck feeling, even when life looks, totally fine on the surface, that's something our source conversation really, really got into.
Right.
And look, if that sounds familiar to you right now, if that resonates, then this deep dive is, well, it's especially for you. We're not
Definitely.
here to lecture or anything like that. It's more like exploring it together, like a chat between friends who've maybe been there too.
Exactly. And our goal, our mission here, is to really try and unpack this whole experience of feeling lost.
Mm.
We're drawing on insights from a really interesting discussion we looked at,
Mm.
trying to figure out not just why it happens, but maybe how we can actually move through it.
Yeah, navigate it.
And this one conversation, it threw out a thought that it really stuck with me. What if feeling lost isn't the end of the road? What if it's actually a turning point?
Ooh, that's a powerful frame.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. Because, you know, feeling loss often isn't some huge, dramatic crisis, right?
Not always, no.
As our source pointed out, life can seem perfectly okay externally.
Yeah.
You're doing the routines, the social things, maybe even smiling.
Mm-hmm. Keeping up appearances.
But underneath, there's that feeling of being disconnected, like you said, operating on autopilot, but without really feeling engaged.
Oh, I remember this so clearly. A few years back, I was sitting in my car. I was about to go into work, a job that was fine,
Fine, yeah, the classic fine.
decent pay, okay colleagues. But that morning, I just sat there staring at the steering wheel, and this thought just hit me like a wave. Is this going to be the next 10 years?
Wow.
It wasn't gradual. It was just, bam, realizing I was like, seriously off course.
That jolt, that sudden clarity almost,
Yeah.
it can be huge. For me, it felt more like being in a maze.
Mhm.
Like every path looks kind of okay, but none of them feel quite right.
Right.
So you're constantly asking yourself, is this the way? Is this path actually me? Or did I just sort of wander onto it?
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it worse when you feel like everyone else got the memo, got the map, and you're just stumbling around.
Yeah, totally. That feeling of being properly stuck, it's so uncomfortable.
It really is.
But what's interesting, and this came up in our source material too, is that exact discomfort. It can actually be a really powerful wake-up call.
Ah, okay. A catalyst.
Yeah. It's the moment you finally kind of stop and ask, hang on, what am I actually doing here? And why?
Right. The big questions.
And just admitting that, just saying, okay, I feel lost, that can be the first little spark of clarity, the start of something new, maybe.
And often how we end up on these paths where we feel lost.
Yeah.
It's not always bad decisions, is it?
No, not necessarily.
Sometimes it's more about listening too much to what everyone else thinks,
Mm-hmm.
the external voices.
Oh, definitely.
Parents, teachers, friends, social media. It's this constant stream of opinions telling you how you should live.
The shoulds. They're everywhere.
Exactly. And over time, it's like our own inner voice, our intuition.
Yeah.
It just gets kind of drowned out.
Yeah.
We start making choices based on what we think other people expect, sometimes without even noticing we're doing it.
It's like having, an inner compass,
Yeah.
your gut feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But if all those external voices keep nudging it just a tiny bit day after day,
Yeah.
over time, you end up miles away from where you were actually meant to go.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Miles away. You might choose a major, like you said, or a career path.
Yeah.
Because it looks good on paper or it seems impressive.
Right. Impressive to others.
But deep down, it just doesn't feel right for you. I remember choosing my major in college purely because it sounded prestigious. I had zero actual interest.
Oh, wow. Regret that later.
Big time. Got the degree, but felt totally disillusioned, And the source conversation we looked at explored why we do that way. And maybe it's wanting approval or being scared of letting people down.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's why it's so crucial to regularly check in with that inner compass.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask yourself, honestly. I mean, am I doing this thing because I want to, because it feels right for me? Or is it because I feel like I should?
That's a tough question sometimes.
It really is. But the difference is massive. Okay, so say you start listening to that inner voice again. What often comes up next is something a lot of us really don't like.
Let me guess. Uncertainty.
Bingo. Uncertainty. We love plans, right? We want answers, control. So when the path ahead is foggy, it's easy to just panic.
Oh, absolutely. Panic mode.
Mm.
But what if we flip that? What if uncertainty isn't the enemy?
Okay.
Our source actually suggested thinking of it as like a gift, an
A
opportunity.
gift. How so?
Well, it creates space. Space to think, to explore, to actually figure out again what really matters to you. When there's no obvious next step, you kind of have to look inward.
Huh. I like that reframe. I remember when I left a job once. No plan B. Nothing lined up.
Oof, scary.
Totally scary. And yeah, people around me were probably thinking I was nuts. And honestly, I had moments where I thought I was nuts.
I bet.
But those months afterwards, while definitely uncertain, were also weirdly productive, but in a different way.
How'd they mean?
I just had space to read stuff I wanted to read, to actually rest, to just walk and think.
Hmm.
And slowly, very slowly, a new direction started to kind of bubble up.
Exactly. When those old stressors fall away, you often become more open. Your curiosity gets sparked.
Yeah.
You might try new things. You start listening more carefully both to yourself and what's around you. It can feel shaky, for sure.
Definitely shaky.
But it's in that not knowing that new doors can actually open. So if you're in that uncertain space right now, just know it's okay. It might even be really valuable.
Right. You don't need the whole map right now.
Exactly. Just stay open, stay curious, trust the process a bit, even if you can't see the end point. Our source also mentioned that fighting the uncertainty, that just makes the anxiety worse.
Oh, interesting. So leaning into it is better.
Kind of accepting it, yeah. It can create a bit more mental room.
Okay, so you're taking a breath. You're trying to be okay with not having all the answers immediately. What's next?
Well, the next step, according to our source, is really crucial. Looking inward.
Inward.
Yeah. Not at your to-do list, not at what society says you should want, but out your fundamental values, what truly deeply matters to you.
Ah, okay. Values, like core principles.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be super complicated. Just think. What are maybe 3 or 4 things that are absolutely non-negotiable for you in life?
Like family, freedom, learning new things.
It could be anything. Family, freedom, learning, kindness, health, creativity, connection, whatever resonates. Because often when we feel lost, it's a sign that we've kind of drifted away from those core values without even realizing it.
That makes a lot of sense.
Our source suggested thinking about times you felt really good, really aligned. What values were you honoring then?
Oh, that really hits home for me. I went through this phase where I was so focused on like productivity and achieving things.
Checking the boxes.
Totally. Check, check, check. And I completely stopped doing things that actually brought me joy, like writing just for fun or properly connecting with friends. Looking back, I'd basically swapped my real values for external validation. And yeah, it felt hollow.
And the powerful thing is, getting back in touch with those core values, it can act like a compass, even when everything else feels uncertain.
Right, like a North Star.
Exactly. You might not have the 5-year plan figured out, but if you start aligning your daily actions, even small ones, with what you truly believe in, that gives you a sense of direction, purpose.
Okay, so you've identified some values. Now what? Just knowing them isn't enough, right?
Right. The next step, which our source emphasized, is taking small actions. Small, manageable steps. Big change rarely happens overnight.
Yes. Tiny goals. I am such a believer in this.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously. There are times when feeling lost felt so huge, the idea of making some massive change was just paralyzing.
Totally overwhelming.
So I started setting these ridiculously small goals, like almost laughably small. Write one sentence today. Or walk outside for 10 minutes. That's it.
Set the bar low. So low you can basically step over it.
Exactly. Almost impossible not to do it.
I've done that too. There were days when, honestly, the goal was just get out of bed, drink a glass of water. Seems tiny, right? But doing just that gave this little flicker of accomplishment, a tiny bit of momentum.
Yeah, it builds.
And those small wins, when you keep doing them, they build confidence. They build that feeling of, okay, I can do things. Our source used a cool analogy like drops of water eventually wearing away stone.
Ooh, I like that. Drops of water. Because we often think change has to be this huge, dramatic event.
Right. A massive leap.
But it's usually the small stuff done consistently that really moves the needle, like learning an instrument. It's the daily practice, right?
Yeah. Each little bit adds up. Our source mentioned even something like learning one new word in a language each day seems tiny, but over a year, that's significant.
Totally. So if you're feeling stuck, maybe don't aim for the giant overhaul right away.
Yeah, maybe not.
Just find one tiny, doable step today that kind of points towards one of your values. And just start there.
And importantly, we need to remember that even when you are taking those steps, aligning with values, some days are still going to feel
Oh,
rough.
for sure. It's not a magic cure.
That feeling of being lost might creep back in.
Yeah.
And that's totally normal. It's part of it. And that's where having support really matters.
Absolutely crucial. I remember during one really confusing time, one of the best things I did was just talk to a friend I trusted.
Yeah. Was it hard to open up?
Oh, it felt super vulnerable, admitting I was struggling, didn't have answers. But you know what? He didn't jump in with advice or solutions.
You just listened.
He just listened, really listened. And just being heard like that, understood, it made such a difference.
Sometimes that's all you need, isn't it? Just someone to validate your feelings.
Yes.
Someone who doesn't try to fix it or brush it off.
Exactly.
And that support, it can come from anywhere, right? Friends, family, maybe a mentor, maybe even finding people online who get it.
Yeah, online communities can be great for that.
And sharing your journey, even a little bit, can also create this sense of accountability.
Yeah.
Helps keep you going. Our source really stressed this. Reaching out for support, that's not weakness.
No way.
It's actually strength. It shows you're aware and you're committed to figuring things out.
Definitely. And remember those small victories we talked about, the tiny steps.
The drops of water.
They absolutely deserve celebrating. Our source really highlighted this. Take a moment to acknowledge the effort.
Yeah, we're so quick to forget the small wins.
Totally. We tend to only focus on the big milestones, or worse, our mistakes. We often forget those quiet moments where we just kept going, even when it was hard.
That's such a key point. We replay the slip-ups, but we got to actively remember the moments of courage, too. Even getting out of bed on a bad day,
Yeah.
like you said, or starting that thing you were scared to start, or asking for help. Those are wins.
They really are.
Our source shared this really lovely idea, a lost and found journal.
Ooh, tell me more.
Okay, so on one side, you jot down times you felt really lost, confused, uncertain.
Mhm.
And then on the facing page, you write down what you eventually learned or discovered or found during that lost period.
Ah, I love that.
Yeah. And then over time, you can look back and see this pattern. You see how you grew, how resilient you actually were, things you might have completely forgotten otherwise.
That totally reframes it, doesn't it? Those lost times weren't wasted. They were part of the journey.
Exactly. The detours, the confusing bits, they teach you stuff. They shape you.
So maybe for you listening, take a second right now. Think back to a time you felt really lost. What did you find there? Maybe some patience you didn't know you had?
Or a new friend. Or just courage to keep trying.
Yeah. It's about recognizing that even when it feels messy, it's still your unique path unfolding.
And those moments of feeling lost can lead to finding really important things within yourself. These are all victories, big or small.
Mm-hmm.
So, be kind to yourself through it. Give yourself that little nod of appreciation. Take a deep breath. And remember, just being on your way, even if the destination isn't clear, that's okay. That's enough.
That really does bring a bit of calm, thinking about it that way.
Yeah.
It's definitely a reminder I think we both needed to hear too.
Mm-hmm.
And we really, truly hope that you, listening in today, found something useful in this chat. Maybe a new thought or a slightly different way to look at things.
Or maybe just feeling a little less alone in it all.
Yeah, that too.
And remember, your progress, whatever it looks like, it genuinely counts. It matters.
Absolutely. So as you keep navigating your own path, all its twists and turns, we just want to encourage you to keep exploring. Keep noticing those moments of self-discovery. Keep building on whatever insights feel right for you from this deep dive today.